Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with the Weekly Comic Book Roundup. We've covered the vast majority of this week's books. Now it's time to wrap things up with this week's Batman books, as well as Dark Crisis. Kicking things off, we've got Batman Superman World's Finest number 9. Where we left off, the Key had caused a bit of chaos in Gotham City, which Batman, Superman, Robin, and Kid Thunder were able to stop. However, the Key informed his benefactor that apparently Superman had a sidekick. And who was that mysterious benefactor of the Keys? The Joker. Commenting about how fun sidekicks are. So, Batman is helping Kid Thunder learn a bit about basically the differences between operating in Gotham and Metropolis. Going after the Ratcatcher. Largely explaining that they have to, Gotham, well, in Metropolis, yes, you can operate openly and, lit up and, everyone's seeing you. And in Gotham, it's better to operate from the shadows. So, piggyback of the Joker, though, he and the Key have a new scheme, but it requires Angleman's Angler, which Joker brings, along with the Angler's hand. And the Angler does what it's supposed to do, leading to, well, we'll get to that later. Next we've got Superman and the Flash racing, with Flash pointing out that Superman can fly. Though Superman likes the exercise, so. But there's they come upon a capsized vessel. While they're going on their run, though, Clark explains to Barry that he appreciates some guidance on raising training a sidekick. But they come upon a boat, which was apparent. It's a lifeboat from a larger ship that had been taken over by pirates. Though Superman states that they probably shouldn't. There's nothing to worry about. The Titans have it taken care of, which they do, including Kid Thunder. Though when one of the pirates opens fire and grazes Aqualad, Kid Thunder does kind of lose it a little bit and lets loose. Though Superman shows up and before Kid Thunder gets a talking to in front of the Titans from Superman. Robin whispers, hey, don't give him the talk in front of his friends, okay? And so as they fly off, Superman talks to Kid Thunder, and Kid Thunder explains that what happened to his world was his fault. His parents were building their escape ship. It was supposed to be big enough to hold all three of them. But Kid Thunder didn't believe it, thought they were full of crap and just would play pranks, hiding this or that, and then, well, but he feels responsibility for having killed his parents. In Gotham, a strange obelisk pops up out of the ground and releases a torrent of water. It's water from the bottom of Gotham Bay, and that is the device that Joker and the Key were working on, flooding Gotham. Superman shows up to help, as does Kid Thunder. Superman's trying to trying to figure out how to reverse the flow of the water. Kid Thunder gets to look at the Batmobile and says it's a badass car. No, though. And yeah, Batman thinks, no, David can't drive it. However, while for a brief moment, Batman turns his back on Kid Thunder, and a portal opens, and Joker takes him. And that is where the issue ends. I kind of feel this is going to somewhat, maybe to a degree, retcon a bit of a Death in the Family with kind of a concept that, oh yes, turns out Jason Todd wasn't the first sidekick Joker killed, but we'll see what happens. Seems how Kid Thunder isn't present in current comics. Safe bet somehow something bad happens to him. So, moving on to our next book, we've got Catwoman number 49. Where we left off, Catwoman was trying to get back to Gotham to save her young ally Dario, and it appeared her and Belmont were at least most of the way back. Meanwhile, Dario's trying to figure out how he's going to escape because Catwoman hadn't shown up yet. He manages to get out of the trunk of the car trunk he's in, and Catwoman has arrived as Catwoman's arriving to save him. She deals with his ex, Noah, and kind of gives Dario a crash course in driving. And the pair of them head to Alleytown, where Catwoman knows she'll be safe. Only to discover a new underworld figure has taken maybe not full control of Alleytown, but at least carved a foothold out in it. Punchline in the Royal Flush Gang, as seen in Punchline, the Gotham game. So Catwoman deals with some of their henchmen. Turns out one of the strays is running deliveries, and he explains that no, he's not working for them. He did a delivery job. That's all. When he got there for the job, he was given the costume, but he also explains everything, what's going on, and Catwoman talks a bit with Dario about her ex, Batman, making a point of keeping the name to herself, but and she kind of feels it's not that so much that she's just he feels that but she kind of puts it as she doesn't feel like she's running from the past. Like he's the past she's running from, but he's the future she's running from. And she hopes that he'll still want who she is when she gets there. But she tracks down Aiko Hasegawa says, "Hey, this is what's going on in Alleytown." So there's a dock involved, so that's kind of Hasegawa territory. Then her and Valmont discuss things and have a bit of rooftop fun. And well, when you're dealing with someone like Punchline, and when you're a cosmic crime fighter in Gotham, you're dealing with someone like Punchline, especially with the scheme she's currently running, you do kind of have to bring in the Bat. Of course, he's already on the case, but Catwoman tracks him down. They talk about things. Explain it's more, this is a professional talk, not the personal talk. Though a little bit of personal gets involved. And while she's happy to let Batman assist on this, one, she expects him to follow her lead, and two, none of the kids, just Batman. Not even Nightwing. His heart gets in the way. But Batman trusts her enough to follow her lead. As he puts it, he always trusts her to get the job done, no matter what surprises are thrown her way. And that is where the issue ends. I like the fact that Gotham Games is going to be tying into some of the other Bat books. The beginning of the Gotham Game miniseries started off strong, so... But anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Nightwing number 98. Where we left off, at one of Batman's bunkers in the Gotham woods, while Babs and Dick were keeping Boss Maroni safe, there was a surprise visitor. Rick Grayson. We open, however, with a young girl. She seems to be the target of who being terrorized by something we can't see. But Dick and Rick talk a bit. Rick changes his form to be 90s Nightwing, and then reveals himself to actually be Nightmite, a fifth dimensional imp. And who claims to be, of course, Nightwing's biggest fan. That said, not exactly Babs' biggest fan, but hey, if being with Babs makes Dick happy, that's fine. He ships Nightwing with Starfire, though. But he promptly creates a wedding sequence with quite the guest list. The Bat Family, the Titans, Superman, and it looks like, oh no, never mind. That's not Ivy. That's Miss Martian, with Bitewing as the ring bearer. But while things have been going along nicely for the two of them, well, it's a bit premature for a wedding. Though they do seem to like the idea of Bitewing being the ring bearer. But it turns out there's someone that does need Nightwing's help. And we're in an obscure event from the somewhat obscure DC event from the 90s is brought back up, Underworld Unleashed, over the course of which Blockbuster made a deal with the demon Neron to be smarter. But he renegotiated the deal, selling someone else's soul. That of his firstborn, the young girl from the beginning of the issue. But demons are coming for the girl. So Nightmite gives Dick's Suprema Sticks an upgrade so that he can deal with the demons. And also brings along Bitewing in a special dog-sized costume. And Bitewing's actually able to talk to Dick. And it's actually really sweet. But Nightwing and Bitewing save Blockbuster's daughter, though, well, she inherited a bit of her dad's abilities. As she shows when she manages to knock out one of the demons all on her own. But the girl's safe, and Raven's also brought in because, well, Raven is able to hide the girl from Neuron's demons, and the girl's introduced to Nightmite. We explained that Nightmite's the one who told Nightwing about what was going on, so he's the hero. Then, but Nightmite does make a suggestion that Dick could be the new Blockbuster, so to speak. Not without the criminal empire, of course, but someone to kind of unofficially run Bloodhaven, as it were. But it's sort of saying there's a hole in the city, in the world, and Nightmite thinks Nightwing can fill it because Nightwing is awesome. And that is where the issue ends. We're getting closer and closer to Nightwing number 100, which I imagine will have some. Which I read is supposed to be set after the events of Dark Crisis, so likely there's going to be some a bit of a status quo change. We'll see. Anyway, moving on to our next book for the moment, and our last Batman book, or Batman-centric book, we've got Batman One Bad Day, Mr. Freeze. So, as with all the One Bad Day one-shots, each one focuses on a specific Bat villain and kind of, going over the concept of One Bad Day. For the last few decades, DC has leaned on the Mr. Freeze origin presented in Batman the Animated Series. Adapted that into being the mainstream origin story for Mr. Freeze. Which, honestly, that's good. I mean, Heart of Ice is one of the best Mr. Freeze stories that's ever been told. Regardless of media. So, but we learn more. Basically, Mr. Freeze, Victor Freeze, was kind of antisocial, but while his wife Nora was, more of a social butterfly before her illness. So, in the present-ish, because back during the days of Dick Grayson, back during Dick Grayson's Robin days. Batman and Robin take down Meek, and as they after they deliver him to Arkham, Batman and Robin are talking in the Batmobile, with Batman kind of saying that he does kind of feel like, that there at least there are some irredeemable criminals, but there is one of Batman's rogues that he doesn't see as being irredeemable. And that's Mr. Freeze. But they go over the accident that led to Victor becoming Mr. Freeze. And Bruce goes out his match to Malone to see about getting a lead on Freeze, and he manages to by saying that he had He helped a buddy take down, bring down a tanker truck. Guy was at an independent gas station. You know, well, 60-40 split, and he ended up with a tanker full of liquid nitrogen. So, but he gets set up with Mr. Freeze. But Freeze, it turns out, is going after an armored car. Batman shows up and offers to help him. Help Nora. They set him up in a LexCorp lab, and all of it, all the information on Nora's condition as well as cryogenics is at Freeze's fingertips. But nothing's working. But it turns out that Nora wanted a dignified end. Didn't want to be kept alive until a cure could be. She wanted to be let go. Freeze destroys the lab. Batman asks some of Nora's old friends and learns about this. And so Batman and Robin go after Freeze, take him down, and basically force him to confront the fact that, it wasn't Nora's wish to be kept alive. But Freeze is overpowered by Batman and Robin, and Nora is put up in Wayne Industries to be later to be thawed out when possible. And that, and the issue ends with Freeze back in Blackgate. It's giving some yard time. It's snowing, and so he lays down and makes some snow angels. And that is the end of the issue. I do enjoy these. Mr. Freeze stuff isn't so much a mystery, so I don't have the same complaint I had with the Two-Face one. It's really the only one I've had a real complaint with. So, but anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Dark Crisis: Young Justice number 6. Where we left off, Young Justice had made it back to Earth Zero. However, Mickey Mixelputtic had followed. And they're able to kind of talk him, not so much talk him down, but he talks down to them, so Wonder Girl talks down to him. But Impulse has a plan, which he shares with Cassie. And he also says that, looking back, he was kind of shitty to her, and he's sorry. But before a plan can be put into motion, Arrowette, Robin, Superboy, and Red Tornado are all significantly powered down by Mickey. But Impulse puts his plan into motion, and it seemingly gets thwarted almost immediately by Bart. But Connor has some reflects on things with Cassie, and he's been turned invisible. He's able to catch her when she falls, and they have a brief heart-to-heart, and it's like, okay, you really, you want to prove that you're more powerful than all of us put together? Fine, power everyone back up. So he does. Which was part of Impulse's plan. and they're able to trap him in a quantum loop. Kind of being trapped in the Phantom Zone, but more finite and infinitesimal. Yeah, even if you split a laser beam in two, then modulate the beams in the exact same way. But Tim and Cassie also talk about things, namely their brief relationship after Connor's death. But the issue ends with them heading off to the Hall of Justice to help against the Dark Army. And that is where the series comes to its close. This is the conclusion of the Dark Crisis Young Justice tie-in. Though we're not done with Dark Crisis just yet. Our last book of the week is Dark Crisis World Without a Justice League Batman. So, the Justice League is dead, and, dead. Pariah has basically put each of them onto their own world. Batman's is rather grimdark and dystopian. You have a single city, Gotham. Everything around Gotham is a wasteland, referred to as the Madlands. But during the day, Gotham runs as it's supposed to. Nothing goes wrong. Almost like it's on a schedule even. But at night, well, the Knight shows up. We see the Knight taking on Oswald Cobblepot, accusing him of having killed the Waynes. But apparently, someone messed with the evidence, and so the Knight kills Cobblepot. But apparently, the people have got have their approval ratings fairly high. But there was also a plague of madness that apparently hit a psychic virus that hit years ago and led Gotham to being what it is now. But the Knight shows up and kidnaps Mr. Wax, the architect. There are some troubling things, and the Knight reveals that he and the architect share the same face. Making it clear that one of them must be counterfeit. So they go out. They venture out into the Madlands. Turns out that some of the Sneer Touched are the Knight's red breasts, but at the remains of Arkham Asylum, the Sneer Touched are used as guard dogs, and these are untreated Sneer Touched who bear a striking resemblance to a certain clown prince of crime. Upon arriving at Arkham, though, running the place is none other than Alfred. Turns out this is a common occurrence. Either the Knight or the architect figures things out, and after everything, it turns out that utilizing technology of some tech that Jonathan Crane left behind, Batman split himself in two: the Bruce Wayne side, the Batman side. Neither is the counterfeit. They're both literally two sides of the same coin. And they constantly figure it out and make their way back to Arkham, where Alfred once again wipes their memories of the whole thing. And so the story ends with Alfred instructing the Red Breasts to thaw out another nemesis, and the architect waking up in Gotham. Our backup story, as each of these has had a backup story, focuses on Zatanna. Oh, yes, that's one other thing with the Batman one. The next thought out nemesis is apparently Victor Zsasz. So, our Zatanna story, it's kind of it's clearly set in the end of the leagues each have their league members each having their own Earth centered around them. But Z and Constantine have a brief chat. Then Constantine morphs into a more up-to-date version of Zatanna. She's reunited with her father when the Justice League shows up. Batman's able to explain that no matter how she shaped the world, it would never be enough time. And so, Z joins the rest of the Justice League in plotting their return to Earth. And that is where the issue ends. This is also the last of the World's Not a Justice League one-shots, so I think all that's left is the Dark Army one-shot and the final issue of Dark Crisis. But anyway, that is going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off saying, live long and rock hard.